Well, let me say first of all that I'm delighted to be here canvassing with Pearse Doherty, and let's remind ourselves there wouldn't be an election, there wouldn't be a by-election. The government tried to prevent this election, so we wouldn't be able to vote if Pearse hadn't taken the High Court action. And I think it's a huge ask for the reasons you've given. Of course it is. But if we get every single person out to vote for the only anti-government candidate who can win the seat, then Pearse can be elected. Anybody else just won't and doesn't have the chance of winning this seat. And the government candidate, one of the first actions that a government candidate will do is to vote for this budget. Now, this part of this county, in fact, the entire rural border county of Donegal, never benefited from the wealth of the Celtic Tiger. Citizens here are least well placed to withstand the ravages of what the government is planning. So if we want to stop it, if we want to send somebody in there who will represent the people of this constituency, if we want to stand up for Donegal and stand up for Ireland, then the person to vote for is Pearse Doherty. And Sinn Féin have also brought forward, we're not just being negative, we understand the need to cut the deficit, we understand the need to build the economy, but you will not build economic recovery through cuts. You need to build it through sustainable and balanced growth. And we have put forward what we believe are balanced, practical, common sense propositions which have been costed by both the Department of Finance and by independent economists, which are about bringing jobs into the economy, about retaining jobs and building as opposed to destroying. We're calling on every single voter in this constituency to stand up for Donegal and to stand up for Ireland, and to give this man, Pearse Doherty, their first preference votes, or if they have some allegiance to some other party, then they give him their second preferences. There's no other way of stopping these draconian measures that the government is planning except by sending Pearse Doherty into the Dáil. There's no other way to do it.
You know, I've been hammering the doors for the last number of weeks, the last number of months, and what we're asking people first and foremost is to come out and vote for me as the sole person who can win this seat against the government candidate. And as Gerry has said, the first decision that whoever wins the seat will be which way they're going to vote in the budget. And I want to be there on the 7th of December to vote against the budget, and that will require second preferences and third preferences from other candidates right across the board, whether they're government or anti-government candidates or independent. So we welcome all transfers and all preferences.
Mr. Adams, the borrowing has gone up to 9% now. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it just shows the fallacy of the government's policy, because we're being told that all of this bailout for the banks and all of the stealing of money out of public services and so on is to try and win confidence in the markets. That clearly isn't working. We come back to this position that there are political choices to be made. We have made clear political choices in terms of stimulating the economy, trying in a balanced way to sustain and regenerate the economy. The government has decided and made political choices which is about having a go at you, having a go at all the other people out there, and letting that elite, the high earners, the wealthy, letting them off scot-free. They're the people who can actually survive as a recession better than the rest of us.
Ten próses in cuirt hartanis and realtas ag lacu achhorcar and kennu one mishamas in cuirt and sin shartansway hart hogger and realtas and fohanche obiaku. Agus, you know, it's more than a go to the kahu na ked €1,000,000 ag tort misha honne court wachtra and ag nam kier and the the cancher keria hora Weimar and the pension of once on the shandini keria hora kurimi slanche agus a mission. Actamaginius the ancient kaimit the ancient Cur Cossinch an Casa one midge, Agus Tamigeri Gomeo and Cashin Hart Lum Lyra, Agus Gomeo and Kenu Chartama own court workdrags, Tamish in Tatohazag or Kenu Flower of Vincent, Agus Tesha Recha, Neshigan Realtas, Mahalian Shid and Casa, Tishid Lockun in Maetense, Gujin court workdrag, Yani Shid Array, Agus Nafohe and Avaku in Port Lariga, Agus in Jeshker Balaki, Agashin, Kalian Shin, Narahalian Shid Nafohe and Shaw, Morigali Shid and Kinshaw and Shaw and all, Gomeo Jerulishan Realta Shaw. You know, na roi misistan na curche Gerry and Yari, dirt make a room, Gerry, yeah, rather one buinte má si sin sasart an fáidir san mutar gúin an algaí has agus an fóthairna bheith ágain tá sin buinte máthagain agus an dara rud Gerry a thuirla sin rialta sin agus seochar an ceniu lách sin féin leis an ceist cuairte seo lacha sin mar a hálas ag tús na bíana seo.
I think that Pearse caught people's imagination because he went to the High Court and he forced the government into the position where they're now having an election which they don't have, that they don't want to have. So that's, you know, on top of his work, on top of all the work that he's done in terms of bringing forward reports about the West, standing up for Donegal, standing up for working people, for lower income families, all of the work that Pearse has done here and that the Sinn Fein team have done throughout the county, Cora here and our colleagues in the council, and you know the work we've done in the north, all of that's to our benefit in terms of people wanting to plot a course forward. But there hasn't been one vote cast, and every single person who wants change, who wants to make a stand, who wants to be decisive, come out and vote for Pearse Doherty.
Are you saying he's the only candidate who has a realistic chance of beating the Fianna Fáil?
There is nobody else in the field, and don't take me on this, there's nobody else in the field can bring a clear message into Leinster House, stand up to the government, except Pearse Doherty.
Yes, but he's the only one who can actually win it.
Yes, there's no look at the figures. There's no one else can win the seat from an anti-government position, and you know I don't want to talk about. I'm here to talk about Sinn Féin, but I mean the Fine Gael party have already signed up to this nonsensical date of 2014 and 6 billion of scathing cuts to be made this upcoming 12 months. They're going to come before Christmas and take €1 million out of the health service. They're talking about stealing old age pensioners' pensions. All the people who are vulnerable in society, whether it's people who are dependent on carers or home helps, people living in rural communities like this, they're coming for us. So the only way to stand up to them, and we have the opportunity, is to vote for Pearse. There's no one else stands any chance of winning this election from an anti-government position. If we want to send somebody in there who will represent the people of this constituency, if we want to stand up for Donegal and stand up for Ireland, then the person to vote for is Pearse.